In a land where the earth hummed with the songs of its people and the sky stretched wide like a weaver's loom, there was a village called Nika, meaning wilderness in the old tongue, for its lands were vast and its spirit untamed. Nika lay cradled between golden hills and a river that sparkled like a thread of silver, its fields bursting with maize, millet, and sweet potatoes. Mango trees dotted the landscape, their fruit heavy with the promise of summer, and at the heart of the village stood a baobab tree, its trunk so wide it seemed to hold the world, its branches heavy with the whispers of ancestors. The baobab was sacred, a place where the living sought wisdom, where vows were sealed, and where truths bloomed like flowers after rain. In Nika lived a man named Ekon, a son of the soil who had risen to become the richest man in the land. His wealth was like the stars, too vast to count, too bright to ignore. Ekon owned trading houses that spanned from the Great Lakes to the desert's edge, ships that sailed to distant shores, and a mansion in the city of Solola that gleamed with glass and polished stone. His robes were woven from the finest silk, his name spoken with awe in markets and palaces alike. To the people of Nika, Ekon was a river that had flowed far from home but still carried their dreams, a boy who had taken their hopes to the world. Ekon had not always been rich. As a boy, he was the son of a farmer, his hands calloused from digging yam fields, his clothes patched from years of wear. But his mind was sharp, like the blade of a well-crafted hoe, cutting through problems with ease. At the village school, a humble structure of mud walls and a thatched roof, Ekon learned to read and write, his heart hungry for knowledge. It was there, under the shade of a tamarind tree, that he met Rudo, a girl whose laughter was like the ripple of the river on a quiet morning. Rudo was the daughter of a potter, her hands skilled at shaping clay into vessels that held both water and stories. Her eyes were bright like the moon on a clear night, and her spirit was as free as the wind that danced through Nika's grasslands. Ekon and Rudo became friends, sharing secrets by the riverbank, chasing fireflies at dusk, and dreaming of a future as vast as the sky. Their friendship grew into love, young but fierce, like a flame kindled in dry grass. One evening, under the baobab tree, they carved their names into its bark, vowing their love would endure like the tree itself, deep-rooted, unyielding, eternal. Ekon and Rudo, they whispered, their fingers tracing the letters, together, forever. But life, like the river, twists and turns in ways no one can predict. When Ekon was 17, a trader from Solola came to Nika, seeking young men with clever minds to work in his trading house. Ekon saw a chance to rise above the fields, to build a life worthy of Rudo, to give her the world she deserved. He held her hands, his eyes burning with hope. "Rudo, I will go to the city," he said. "I will work hard, make my fortune, and come back for you. Will you wait for me?" Rudo's smile was soft, her eyes glistening. "I will wait, Ekon, under the baobab. My heart is yours." Ekon left Nika at dawn, his belongings tied in a cloth sack, his heart heavy, but his dreams bright. In Solola, he worked tirelessly, learning the ways of trade, buying spices, selling cloth, counting coins until his fingers ached. He sent letters to Rudo at first filled with promises and love, but the city was a whirlwind, pulling him deeper into its currents. Years passed, and Ekon's cleverness turned coins into fortunes. He built trading posts, bought ships, and became a man of power, his name whispered in the halls of kings. But as his wealth grew, his letters to Rudo grew fewer, then stopped. He told himself he would return when he was ready, when his riches were enough to honor their love. Yet, the city's glitter dulled his memories, and the boy who loved Rudo became a shadow in his heart. In Nyika, Rudo waited. She shaped pots, cared for her aging father, and helped the village through hard times. When drought withered the fields, she shared her water. When floods swept away homes, she molded clay to rebuild ovens. The people of Nyika loved her, calling her the potter's daughter with a heart of gold. But whispers reached her. Tales of Ekon's wealth, his city life, his grand house. Her heart ached, but she held her head high, her love for Ekon a quiet flame beneath the ashes of hope. She visited the baobab often, touching their carved names, praying to the ancestors for his return. 25 years passed, and Ekon, now 42, was a billionaire, his wealth a mountain that touched the sky. Yet, beneath his silk robes and golden rings, he felt hollow, like a drum with no song. The city was cold, its people chasing wealth, not dreams. Ekon longed for Nika, for the warmth of its fires, the laughter of his youth, the boy who loved, Rudo. His heart, once bright, was now a field left fallow, yearning for rain. One morning, as he sat in his mansion, a letter arrived, written on rough paper that smelled of Nyika's earth. It was from Mama Aisha, the village teacher who had taught him to read. The letter invited him to a reunion of his old schoolmates, a gathering in Nyika to celebrate the past and honor the future. The event would be held under the baobab, with feasting, dancing, and stories. Ekon's hands trembled as he read, memories flooding back, Rudo's laugh, the river's song, the baobab's shade. He decided to go, not as the billionaire, but as Ekon, the boy who once ran barefoot through the fields. He told no one of his plan, not even his trusted friend, Zuberi, who managed his trading houses. Ekon packed simple clothes, a cotton tunic, worn sandals, leaving his silk robes in Solola. He traveled to Nyika in a plain ox cart, not his gleaming car, wanting to feel the dust of his home without the weight of his wealth. As he neared the village, the air grew warm, the scent of grass and wildflowers filling his lungs. The hills of Nyika rose before him, dotted with acacias, and the baobab tree stood like a guardian, its branches welcoming him home. The reunion was held in the schoolyard, now expanded with new classrooms painted in shades of ochre and blue. The baobab loomed nearby, its shade a gathering place for laughter and memories. Villagers and old schoolmates filled the yard, their faces etched with time but their spirits unchanged. Mama Aisha, her hair silver but her eyes sharp as a hawk's, welcomed Ekon with a warm embrace. "You are still our Ekon," she said, though her smile hinted she knew of his wealth. Ekon laughed, feeling light like the boy who once chased goats through the hills. He joined his friends, men and women who had stayed in Nika or returned, their lives woven into the village's rhythm. There was Kwame, now a blacksmith with arms like iron, and Naya, a healer whose hands soothed both bodies and hearts. They shared stories of school days, stealing guavas from the headman's tree, racing to the river, and carving names in the tamarind's bark. Ekon listened, his heart swelling, but his eyes searched for Rudo. She was not among the crowd, and no one spoke her name. He dared not ask, fearing she had left Nyika, or worse, that she had forgotten him. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the reunion moved to a feast in the school's dining hall, a new building with mud walls and a tin roof. Long tables were laden with Nika's bounty, yam stew thick with spices, roasted maize dusted with salt, mango pudding sweet as summer, and flatbreads baked in clay ovens. The air was alive with chatter, the clink of calabash cups, and the rhythm of a drummer calling the ancestors to join the meal. Ekon sat with Kwame, who clapped his shoulder. "Nika has grown, Ekon," Kwame said, his voice deep. "But it is still home. You should stay." Ekon smiled, his heart tugging. "Maybe I will, Kwame." After the meal, as the lanterns flickered and the stars began to peek through the sky, Ekon offered to help clear the tables, wanting to feel part of Nyika, not a guest passing through. Mama Aisha, her eyes twinkling, pointed him to the kitchen, a small room behind the hall where dishes were washed. "Take those plates, Ekon," she said. "The women there will be glad for your help." Ekon carried a stack of clay plates, his mind on Rudo, wondering where she was, what her life had become. He stepped into the kitchen, a warm space lit by a single lantern, and froze. There, by a basin of soapy water, stood a woman, her hands scrubbing plates, her head bent. Her hair was tied in a faded head wrap, her dress simple, patched at the hem, but Ekon knew her instantly. Rudo, his heart stopped, then raced like a herd of antelope. She was older, her face lined with the stories of years, but her beauty was unchanged, like the river that never loses its grace. She hummed softly, a tune they had sung as children by the river, and Ekon's knees weakened. He set the plates down, the clatter breaking the silence, and Rudo looked up. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world dissolved. Nika, the kitchen, the years between them, leaving only Ekon and Rudo, two hearts bound by a promise. Ekon, Rudo whispered, her voice trembling like a leaf caught in the wind. Rudo, he said, his throat tight, his eyes burning. It's me. She wiped her hands on her dress, her gaze searching his face, as if unsure he was real. You came back, she said, her words soft, heavy with meaning. He nodded, unable to speak. The kitchen felt too small, the air too thick with unspoken questions. Rudo's lips parted as if to say more, but she turned back to the basin, her hands moving quickly, hiding her face. I must finish, she said, her voice steady now. The village needs these plates clean. Ekon stood, rooted like the baobab, watching her work. Rudo, his first love, washing dishes at a reunion feast. In his dreams, he had seen her as a potter, shaping clay into art, or a mother with children at her feet, or a queen in a house he built for her. Not this. Not scrubbing plates in a dim kitchen, her hands rough from labor. Shame burned in his chest, not for her, but for himself. He had left her, chased gold in Salola, while she stayed serving Nyika. He wanted to speak, to ask why, to beg forgiveness, but the words stuck like thorns in his throat. Mama Aisha entered, her presence like a breeze, her eyes sharp, sensing the weight of the moment. Ekon, don't stand there like a lost goat, she said, her tone kind but firm. Help Rudo. The night is long, and there is work to do. Ekon nodded, rolling up his sleeves. He stood beside Rudo, taking a plate to dry, their hands brushing once, sending a spark through him like lightning on a dry plain. They worked in silence, the clink of dishes and the splash of water the only sounds. Ekon stole glances at her, seeing the strength in her hands, the quiet pride in her posture, the way her lips curved slightly as she hummed. He wanted to know her story, to understand the years that had carved lines into her face, but he feared the truth, feared it would reveal the depth of his failure. When the dishes were done, the basin empty, Rudo wiped her hands and looked at him, her eyes steady, piercing. Why are you here, Ekon? She asked, her voice soft but cutting, like a blade wrapped in cloth. Nika is not your home anymore. Salola is your world now. Ekon swallowed, his heart laid bare. Nika is my home, Rudo. I came to remember who I was, to find the boy I left behind, and to find you. Her lips trembled, and for a moment her eyes softened, but she turned away, stepping into the night. Ekon followed, desperate, the baobab tree looming ahead, its shadow calling them like a mother calls her children. Under its branches, Rudo stopped, her back to him, the moonlight painting her in silver. Ekon saw the girl he had loved, still there, beneath the weight of years, her spirit unbroken. Rudo, he said, his voice breaking. I never stopped loving you. I left to build a life for us, to give you everything, but I lost my way. I chased wealth, thinking it would make me worthy of you. I was wrong. I'm sorry. She turned, her eyes wet but fierce like a storm gathering over the hills. You left, Ekon. I waited, year after year, under this tree. I heard of your riches, your ships, your grand house. I thought you forgot me, forgot Nyika, forgot our promise. I never forgot, he said, stepping closer, his hands aching to reach for her. Your name is carved in my heart, like on this tree. Every coin I earned, every trade I made was for you, for us. But I was a fool. I let the city steal me. Rudo touched the baobab, her fingers tracing their old carving, Ekon and Rudo, now weathered but still there, a testament to their youth. I stayed, she said, her voice steady, though it carried pain. Nika needed me. My father grew sick, and I cared for him until he joined the ancestors. The village faced droughts, floods, hunger. I shaped pots, I wove baskets, I worked the fields. I washed dishes, Ekon, because Nika is my family. I am not ashamed. But you chose gold over love. Her words cut deeper than any spear, piercing the armor of his wealth, his pride. Ekon fell to his knees, the earth cool beneath him, grounding him in Nika's truth. I was wrong, Rudo, he said, tears falling, unashamed. I thought, well, wealth would make me a man. But I see now, you were always more than I deserved. Your heart, your strength, your love for Nyika, they are worth more than all my gold. Rudo looked down at him, her face softening, though pain lingered in her eyes. Get up, Ekon, she said, her voice gentle but firm. The ancestors do not judge a man by his riches, but by his heart. Show me yours. Show Nika. Ekon stood, his eyes locked on hers, his soul bare. Let me stay, Rudo. Let me earn your trust again. I will give Nika everything. My wealth, my time, my life. And if you let me, I will love you as I should have with every breath I have. Rudo said nothing, her gaze searching his soul, weighing his words against the years of silence. Then she nodded, a small gesture, but one that lit Ekon's heart like the sun breaking through clouds. Start here, Ekon, she said, in Nyika, with the people, with me. The reunion ended, the lanterns dimmed, and the villagers returned to their homes, their laughter echoing through the night. But Ekon did not leave. He stayed in Nika, moving into his father's old house, a simple mud structure with a thatched roof, its walls cracked but warm with memories. He wore cotton tunics, worked the fields beside farmers, and joined the village council, listening to the needs of the people. His wealth he shared generously, building a new school with desks of polished wood, digging wells to bring clean water, giving seed and tools to farmers, and funding a healer's hut where Nia could tend the sick. The people of Nika, at first wary of the billionaire in their midst, saw his heart and welcomed him as their own. They called him Ekon, son of Nika, not Ekon the rich man. Children followed him, begging for stories of the city, and elders invited him to their fires, sharing wisdom of the land. Ekon learned to plant maize, to mend fences, to listen to the river's song. Each day he felt the boy he had been returning, his heart growing roots in Nyika's soil. Rudo watched, her trust growing slowly, like a seed in good earth. She worked beside him, shaping pots for the school, weaving baskets for the market, and organizing feasts for the village. They spoke often, their words careful at first, like steps on a new path. Ekon told her of Salola, the noise, the loneliness, the weight of wealth. Rudo shared her years in Nika, the loss of her father, the droughts that tested the village, the joy of teaching children to shape clay. Their laughter returned, soft at first, then bold, like a song they had forgotten but now remembered. One evening, as the sun sank and the baobab glowed under the twilight, Ekon and Rudo walked to the river, their feet bare, the grass cool beneath them. They sat on the bank watching fireflies dance, their light mirrored in the water. Ekon took Rudo's hand, his touch gentle, reverent. Rudo, he said, his voice steady, I left you once, and it was the greatest mistake of my life. I will never leave again. Will you walk with me, as we did before, not as children, but as partners, building a life here in Nika? Rudo looked at him, her eyes bright, her smile like the dawn. Yes, Ekon, she said. But this time we walk together, always. No city, no gold, no promise will pull us apart. Ekon's heart soared, and he pulled her close, their laughter mingling with the river's song. Under the baobab they renewed their vow, not with carvings, but with words spoken to the ancestors, who watched from the stars, pleased. The tree, wise and old, seemed to nod, its leaves whispering of love that endures, of flames that burn bright beneath the ashes of time. Nika thrived, its fields green, its children strong, its fires warm with stories. Ekon and Rudo built a life together, not in a mansion, but in a home of mud and love, surrounded by the people they served. The river carried their story, A tale of love, reborn, of a man who found his heart in the place he began, of a woman whose strength was the soul of her village. Generations later, children sat under the baobab telling of Ekon and Rudo, whose love, like the tree, stood tall, its roots deep, its branches reaching for the sky.